The obstacle is the way. Part 1 Perception. Alter your perspective. Man does not simply exist but always decides what his existence will be, what he will become the next moment. By the same token, every human being has the freedom to change at any instant. Viktor Frankl. Once as the Athenian general Pericles cast off on a naval mission in the Peloponnesian War, the sun was eclipsed and his fleet of 150 ships was cast into darkness. Surprised by this unexpected and confusing event, his men were thrown into a state of panic. Unlike the crew, Pericles was undaunted. He walked up to a lead steersman, removed the cloak he was wearing, and held it up around the man's face. He asked the man if he was scared of what he saw. No, of course not. So what does it matter, Pericles replied, when the cause of the darkness differs? The Greeks were clever. But beneath this particular quip is the fundamental notion that girds not just Stoic philosophy but cognitive psychology. Perspective is everything. That is, when you can break apart something, or look at it from some new angle, it loses its power over you. Fear is debilitating, distracting, tiring, and often irrational. Pericles understood this completely, and he was able to use the power of perspective to defeat it. The Greeks understood that we often choose the ominous explanation over the simple one, to our detriment. That we are scared of obstacles because our perspective is wrong, that a simple shift in perspective can change our reaction entirely. The task, as Pericles showed, is not to ignore fear but to explain it away. Take what you're afraid of, when fear strikes you, and break it apart. Remember, we choose how we'll look at things. We retain the ability to inject perspective into a situation. We can't change the obstacles themselves, that part of the equation is set, but the power of perspective can change how the obstacles appear. How we approach, view, and contextualize an obstacle, and what we tell ourselves it means, determines how daunting and trying it will be to overcome. It's your choice whether you want to put I in front of something. I hate public speaking. I screwed up. I am harmed by this. These add an extra element, you in relation to that obstacle, rather than just the obstacle itself. And with the wrong perspective, we become consumed and overwhelmed with something actually quite small. So why subject ourselves to that? The right perspective has a strange way of cutting obstacles and adversity down to size. But for whatever reason, we tend to look at things in isolation. We kick ourselves for blowing a deal or having to miss a meeting. Individually, that does suck, we just missed 100% of that opportunity. What we're forgetting in that instance, as billionaire serial entrepreneur Richard Branson likes to say, is that business opportunities are like buses. There's always another coming around. One meeting is nothing in a lifetime of meetings, one deal is just one deal. In fact, we may have actually dodged a bullet. The next opportunity might be better. The way we look out at the world changes how we see these things. Is our perspective truly giving us perspective, or is it what's actually causing the problem? That's the question. What we can do is limit and expand our perspective to whatever will keep us calmest and most ready for the task at hand. Think of it as selective editing, not to deceive others, but to properly orient ourselves. And it works? Small tweaks can change what once felt like impossible tasks. Suddenly, where we felt weak, we realize we are strong. With perspective, we discover leverage we didn't know we had. Perspective has two definitions. 1. Context, a sense of the larger picture of the world, not just what is immediately in front of us. 2. Framing, an individual's unique way of looking at the world, a way that interprets its events. Both matter, both can be effectively injected to change a situation that previously seemed intimidating or impossible. George Clooney spent his first years in Hollywood getting rejected. At auditions, he wanted the producers and directors to like him, but they didn't, and it hurt, and he blamed the system for not seeing how good he was. This perspective should sound familiar. It's the dominant viewpoint for the rest of us on job interviews, when we pitch clients, or try to connect with an attractive stranger in a coffee shop. We subconsciously submit to what Seth Godin, author and entrepreneur, refers to as the tyranny of being picked. Everything changed for Clooney when he tried a new perspective. He realized that casting is an obstacle for producers, too. They need to find somebody, and they're all hoping that the next person to walk in the room is the right somebody. Auditions were a chance to solve their problem, not his. From Clooney's new perspective, he was that solution. He wasn't going to be someone groveling for a shot. He was someone with something special to offer. He was the answer to their prayers, not the other way around. That was what he began projecting in his auditions, not exclusively his acting skills, but that he was the man for the job. That he understood what the casting director and producers were looking for in a specific role, and that he would deliver it in each and every situation, in pre-production, on camera, and during promotion. The difference between the right and the wrong perspective is everything. How we interpret the events in our lives, our perspective, is the framework for our forthcoming response, whether there will even be one or whether we'll just lie there and take it. Where the head goes, the body follows. Perception precedes action. Right action follows the right perspective.